I just hit 1,000 miles on my 2025 Yamaha R9, and it's time to break it all down for you guys. I'm talking pros, cons, what I love, what I don't, all of it. If you're thinking about picking up the Yamaha R9, this video is for you. I'm gonna be going over everything no one really talks about with this bike, the full riding experience after 1,000 miles. Let's see if it's worth it. Alright, so before we hop into the 1,000-mile review, I actually got something in the mail. I actually just got my tinted windscreen, so I'm gonna go ahead and install it in today's video as well. For those wondering, I actually got it from the Yamaha website, so it's a genuine part. So let's go ahead and unbox it. I feel like every install video I'm making, I'm in my slides, so I'm gonna have to keep that routine going. And here it is, we got the smoked windscreen. It shouldn't be anything too dark, just a little tint, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. Oh yeah, there we go. That is perfect. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I don't think you guys can tell the difference very well on camera. You kind of see it here, but I'm gonna go ahead and install it. I actually completely forgot I'm gonna need an additional mount, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that real quick. Gotta come over to my little stash. All right, got one right here. There we go. This is the one we need. All right, cool. The reason why I need to put one of these on my windscreen is so that I can actually mount my Insta360 cameras on my bike. I don't know how far down I should put it. I genuinely don't know if that's centered, but I kind of have no choice but to rock it. Fuck, man. I mean, you guys let me know. I think it is, but I think we're good. I got OCD, so that's why I need it to be right in the middle, but I think we're good. Yeah, that's not centered. It's all right, whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna take off these 4 bolts, 2 on each side. I believe this should be able to come out pretty easy. All right, there we go. We got the old one out. As you guys can see, there's a pretty big difference between the two. Only thing with this one here, I noticed there's an R on the edge. I personally am not a fan of that, so I'm probably gonna take it off. As well as that sticker, I'm probably gonna take that off, but all right, there we go. We're gonna have to transfer over these 4 little black rubber pieces over to the new one, and I'll be right back as soon as I do that. All right, y'all, so I went ahead and transferred over those 4 rubber bits. It's honestly pretty straightforward. Just turn it around and then push it from the backside and it'll pop right out. Now all that's left is pretty much just to slip it back in. All right, guys, pretty much finished up with the windscreen. Let's go ahead and take it out for a spin. All right, guys, so now for the 1,000-mile review. I'm gonna be 100% honest, so let's go on a ride and we'll talk a little bit more about this Yamaha R9. I'm also gonna have an Insta360 camera on the back of my bike, just so there's an additional camera angle. But without further ado, let's go on a ride. It's a little windy out today, so I apologize if any of the audio gets distorted. All right, guys, so for the first pro on this motorcycle, it's gonna be the electronics. This bike has a quick shifter, and it's absolute butter when it comes to high RPMs. If you buy a bike from the factory with 0 miles on it, you shouldn't necessarily be hitting higher RPMs. But since I'm past that initial braking period, I'm able to go in that higher RPM mark. And for those wondering, yes, I already did my first service on this motorcycle. I actually uploaded a video not too long ago, so you guys can check that out if you're interested in knowing how to do that. In that video, I talk about how to do an oil change and everything you basically need for that oil change. But yeah, long story short, quick shifter and auto blip is ridiculous on this bike. Let me go ahead and demonstrate that for you guys. It's very, very smooth, even for auto blip. But yeah, with the electronics on this bike, you're actually given power modes. Don't know if you guys can read that too well, but on the top right of the display, I'm on street mode. As you guys can see, that mode button on my right hand, it'll do exactly what you think it does. They have rain mode, street mode, which I'm currently in, as well as sport mode, and they have 2 custom modes which you can adjust yourself. Next thing I want to talk about is pretty much how comfortable this bike is. I personally upgraded from an R3 to an R9. Going from an R3 to an R9, you will notice a very, very big difference in the riding style that you're put in. I personally like having more of an aggressive style when riding a bike. I personally do not find an issue with comfort on this motorcycle. I find it very comfortable if you're not going on a super long ride. Once you start hitting that 1 hour of continuous riding on this motorcycle, I can agree that it is a little uncomfortable, but I'm pretty sure that goes with almost any bike. I do believe I'm gonna change out this seat, but probably not right now because I can't find any parts on this motorcycle. But yeah, to sum it up, I would basically say if you're going on about a 30-35 minute ride, you shouldn't have any issues with this motorcycle. But once you start hitting that 45-minute hour mark, I can agree that it is a little uncomfortable. Oh, and one more thing I completely forgot to talk about for the electronics is that this bike actually has cruise control. Whenever I hop on the freeway, I'll show you guys exactly how to use it. All right, so for the cruise control, you're pretty much just in click mode, and you're gonna set it by clicking that lever down. As soon as you set it, you can pretty much just take your hand off the throttle and it'll stay continuous at the set mode that you put it in. I know a lot of you guys can agree with holding down that throttle position for 20 minutes continuously. It starts to strain your hand, so this is very beneficial for those times. Oh my god, another thing I completely forgot to mention is these turn signals. Sorry guys, bear with me. I'm trying to think of these on the spot, but they're just kind of coming as I'm going. But yeah guys, a really cool thing with these turn signals, if you actually lightly click on the left turn signal, it'll auto cancel after about 3 blinks. For example, I'm gonna lightly click on my left turn signal,
And as you guys can see, it'll auto cancel after about 3 blinks. Same goes with the right side. So I'm gonna lightly click the right side and you're gonna see after 3 blinks, it'll auto cancel. And let's say if you don't want it to auto cancel, all you have to do is pretty much give it a hard click and it'll say blinking on whichever side you want it on. All right guys, next thing I want to talk about is the handling on this motorcycle. This motorcycle handles beautifully in exiting corners, and you guys can test it out yourself. I feel very confident every single time I'm on a corner with this bike, and it's such a great feeling. Now for the power on this motorcycle, I actually really enjoy it. I did notice pretty early on when you're in first and second gear, you are pretty limited as to what you can do with the power on this bike, but that's where flashing your ECU can fix that problem. As soon as I get my full system exhaust, I'm gonna flash my ECU and I'll be sure to make a video on it. But yeah, when you hit third gear, it absolutely pulls. I could keep talking about the pros on this motorcycle, but honestly, you can find that anywhere on YouTube. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the cons of this bike. The first con I would say this motorcycle has is an overheating issue. Every time I'm sitting at a red light or riding very slowly, I do notice this bike overheats very quick. Like for example, right now it's at 200 Fahrenheit. And once again, that's what flashing your ECU can fix on this bike. When you flash your ECU, you can actually have your fans kick in a lot earlier than what the factory has it set to. With that being said, if your fans are set to come on earlier than expected, your ass won't be on fire while sitting at a red light. Now the next con on this motorcycle, I'm pretty sure you all know, it's the stock exhaust on this thing. The stock exhaust on this bike doesn't sound like absolute, well, it's definitely something. It's just not the best sound. Now that can be fixed with a slip-on or full system exhaust, which I do plan on doing. But given that this bike is pretty brand new, you can't really find too much on the market. To be completely honest, when you're on the bike on the freeway in higher RPMs, it does not sound horrible, but I just can't justify holding onto this stock exhaust for the lifetime of this motorcycle. When there's so many options for aftermarket exhausts that are out there, I would highly recommend getting one to make this bike sound good. Now the last con I want to talk about is the RPM rev range on this bike. This bike tops out at 10,500 RPM, which, don't get me wrong, the torque does make up for it. But you do have other bike options out there, like the R6 for example, that top out at I believe 16,000 RPM. And no, I am not saying this is a replacement for the R6. I know there's going to be a lot of heated people in the comments trying to say that. But yeah, with this rev limiter being at 10,500, it just pretty much means that it can't scream like an R6. But like I said, the torque makes up for the rev limiter being set to 10,500, which in my opinion, it's not too big of a deal. If that's a really big deal for you, then this bike might not be set for you. In my personal opinion, I don't really care too much because I'm not going to have this bike for 20 years. There's always going to be options to get another bike, but I mainly got this bike just for the experience. As a matter of fact, I was actually peer pressured to get in this bike by my 2 other friends last year in October. We all put a $1,000 deposit on this bike at the same exact time. So there's 3 of us that actually have the Yamaha R9 in the area, and that dealership is only selling 5 for the year. So we have 3 out of the 5 from that dealership, which is pretty cool. But we did have to wait over like 7 months to get this bike. Make sure you guys check out my previous videos on this bike. I actually just installed this tail light, which is super dope. Let me actually show you guys it. I don't know if that tail light video will be out before this video, but just to show you guys how it looks like, it actually looks like this, which is super sick. I also got rid of that hideous fender in the rear, so make sure you guys check out that video. But yeah, this is the windscreen I actually installed earlier today. I'm not sure if I had a good clip of it, but here it is. Also ignore whatever's going on here. This is just for that Insta360 stick, so that could have an additional angle in the back. But yeah, you guys, I highly recommend getting an R9. I hope I cleared up any questions you guys may have. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not gonna try to beat around the bush. I was a little scared making that jump from an R3 to an R9, but sometimes you just got to do it, you know. But yeah, I was pretty scared making that jump. After like 5 to 6 rides, I was completely fine on it. I was a lot more comfortable than I thought I would be. Within a couple of days, my confidence on this bike went up so much. But yeah, you guys, I'm pretty much gonna wrap it up here. Make sure you guys comment down below. I'm not a big channel, so I'll probably be able to get to everyone in the comment section. So comment down below or send me a DM on Instagram. It's at nacho.yzf, and I'll be sure to get back to you guys as soon as possible. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below, follow me on the gram, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.